The purpose of this video is to demonstrate how to draw energy bar charts and pie charts, and each of these different charts helps demonstrate the conservation of energy. By using these charts, we're able to identify how energy is stored in different physical systems, and the bar charts especially are the best way. It's a model that we use to quantify and qualify that work is either entering or leaving a system. So the very first thing that's necessary when you're drawing these little charts is to identify the system. All right, and we do this by putting a little box around the system. So if the system includes any of the surroundings, or if it includes just the object, putting the box around the system will help us do that. The second part is to locate the ground for the system. So sometimes it's kind of tricky to identify whether the ground is on the surface of a table or if it's actually like the ground of the table. So we can use a dotted line for this. Okay, and then usually all of these situations, they're going to have a before and an after. So we just identify the types of energy in the before, and identify. We have to evaluate if energy enters or leaves. Whoops, weather. So just evaluate whether energy enters or leaves the system. And then lastly, we identify energy at the end. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So really the types of energies we are investigating are kinetic. And that's basically, is the object moving? If it's moving, it has kinetic energy. We've already talked about gravitational energy, and if it can fall, oops, can it fall? So if the object can fall, depending on where your ground is, then it has gravitational energy. And then the last one is spring potential. That's the SP, spring potential. So a question you can ask is, can it be sprung? Okay, so if you answer these questions, these are the ones that are that help us identify the types of energy. One other type that we can identify, and usually this is only present at the end of the system. So like if energy is dissipated within the system, so for example, if a box is sliding along a surface, that sliding, it creates some friction, and that friction generates heat, and then that heat is dissipated within the system. So does contact or impact and this is kind of important. It helps us identify if it's in the system or not. So does this contact generate some dissipated energy within the system? If there's that friction and you have included both the ground and the object in the system, then it's dissipated. But if you don't include the ground, if you include only the object, and technically you're saying that the ground is outside your system, then this energy is really leaving the system. It's going out of the object and into the ground. And if you don't include the ground in your system, we call that work. So let's look at an example with a box on a table. And we have some height for the object. So if we do the steps that we've asked, so this is the system, and we'll make the ground actually the ground, not the table. So you're going to generate little bar charts. So in the bar graph, you have three little objects. Sometimes I call them lol charts because it's hilarious. But this box is on top of the table. And so at the very beginning, all of the energy that's present in the system is stored as gravitational energy. So this is the before. And then if the box gets pushed off of the table, and let's just evaluate the energy present in the system while the box is moving towards the ground but has not hit the ground yet. It is as close as possible to the ground. Then the box at the beginning could fall but wasn't moving. And at the end, we recognize that all of the energy has been converted into kinetic energy. So we talked about this in class last week when we tried to figure out the velocity of the bowling ball. So as long as you can generate the same amount of kinetic energy from the stored gravitational energy, you've demonstrated the conservation of energy. So we say we can demonstrate this with a little equation. So the gravitational energy at the beginning is equal to the kinetic energy at the end. Another way to show this is with a pie chart. So you have two pie charts. So one of them is for the before, and one of them is for the after. So the pie chart is a really good example for demonstrating the conservation of energy, because you're not going to have more than the amount of energy you started with. So in this example, 100% is gravitational, so the whole thing would be shaded as gravitational. At the end, maybe we would use a different color. All of the energy is stored as kinetic energy. So these are these two systems. So we can use a bar chart to demonstrate conservation of energy, or these little pie charts. And so one little note about this circle right here. This circle is going to represent the system. So this system is just the box. In our example, it's only the box. It doesn't include the floor or the table. So the box is what we're going, this circle right here, representing the box, is what we're going to use to demonstrate if energy is coming into or coming out of the system. So let's do another example. If a box, again, is on top of a little hill, and if we let's include two parts of the system in this one. So we will make this the ground, and we'll make the box and the spring our system in this example. Okay, so at the very beginning, we have the box on top of a little hill and the spring at the very bottom. And then at the very end of the scenario, we will have the spring is now compressed and the box is not moving. So this gives us two pretty clear examples. And in the before, this object has a height. It can fall. This is the distance that it can fall. So in the very beginning, the object only has, in the very beginning, the object only has gravitational energy. Give it its little charts. At the very end, the spring is loaded. So at the very end, the spring is loaded now. It's still not moving, so it has no kinetic energy. Like, it has rolled all the way, it's slid all the way down. It runs into the spring and it loads the spring. The spring is about to spring it. So that means that if we make an assumption that the friction between the ground and the box is negligible or insignificant, then all of the energy at the very end is stored as kinetic energy. Nope. Spring energy. So at the very beginning it was stored as gravitational, and then after you load the spring, it's stored as spring potential. So if we looked at our little pie charts, the before and after, at the very beginning it's all gravitational, and at the very end it's all spring, so 100% is spring. Okay, if we consider the same circumstances, now again the box is on top of this little hill, so let's make this the ground again, and let's only include the box as our system this time. So we're still going to do the same thing. It's going to run into the spring, and it's going to compress the spring, and the velocity at this point is going to be 0. So in this case, we have our little bar lol chart. And at the very beginning, all of the energy is stored as gravitational, just like it was in the first example. But if you only include the box in your system and not the spring, after the box runs into the spring, now it has no kinetic energy, it can't fall any further, and technically the spring is outside of the system, so it cannot be sprung from inside the system. So we demonstrate that the energy has left the system by showing this little arrow coming out of the circle here. So like this little part that represents our system, all of the energy that was stored gravitationally was transferred into the spring, which is outside of the system. So we demonstrate that gravitational energy has been converted into spring potential as it's left the system. So at the very end, it looks like there is no energy stored in this object because it can't fall, it can't be sprung from inside the system, it's not moving. So the energy that was stored gravitationally, it didn't disappear, it was transferred outside of the system. So a way we can demonstrate that with an equation is to say that the gravitational energy at the beginning minus the work done, and in this case, the work was done on the spring. So the gravitational energy was converted into kinetic energy. As the box slides down the ramp, it begins to pick up speed. And that speed is used to apply a force over a distance on this spring right here. And the force times distance gives us joules, so that the energy stored in the spring is equivalent to the energy that was stored when it was in at this height. So given that none of the energy is lost to the friction between the box and the slope. So in our case, the gravitational energy minus the amount of work demonstrates that there's no energy left in the system after. So again, if we show with the pie chart, we have only at the very beginning gravitational, and at the end nothing is stored. Okay, that's how you do energy charts. So the bar charts up here demonstrate the before, the system, and the after. And the pie charts they always have a before and an after. So it's really important to identify your system, identify the ground, and this equation is going to be important when we're considering the conservation of energy. Okay, that's all I have for you. To leave you with a dad joke for the day, I'm just wondering if you know why you are never supposed to trust an atom. Okay, thanks. See you in class.